So let's go to the Senate race. Really interested.
Oh my gosh.
How this?
Yeah.
Because it was Zach and Josh had Zach Walls, Josh Turk. We were here. They were in a dogfight.
Yes.
And actually, when I think right after I left, the polls then showed it close, but within a couple of weeks, 3 or 4 weeks later, Turk seemed like he was pulling away, at least in the public polling.
So soon after you were here, Vote Vets got involved in that primary for Turek because even though he's not a veteran, his dad served in Vietnam and his dad's exposure to Agent Orange is probably why he was born with spina bifida. So Vote Vets came in and spent about $10 million for pro-Turek messages. And that is a lot for a state like Iowa. Yeah. So that is where I think in April is when the polls started flipping. And, the perception was that Turek was just a stronger general election candidate because he had won twice in a district that voted for Trump, a very tough Iowa House district in Council Bluffs, kind of a white working class dominated area. And the polling that I've seen is that the more people learn about Turek, the more they're very inspired by his story. So, and that just seems to be, he's still less well known than Ashley Hinson. So I think that he has room to grow. Now, Ashley Hinson's primary was very interesting because she was up against this guy, Jim Carlin, former state legislator who ran against Chuck Grassley in 2022. And Jim Carlin got about 26.5% of the vote against Grassley and about the same 25% against Hinson. I wondered if it would be less because I thought, well, maybe in 2022 there were people who thought Chuck Grassley was getting too old. But Jim Carlin, absolutely hardcore MAGA, election denier, lots of very anti-establishment. And we see this anti-establishment streak in the Republican electorate. I think it's not just in Iowa, but it's very visible in Iowa. And Jim Carlin, after the primary, came out with a statement that said, I can't in good conscience recommend that you vote for Ashley Hinson because conservatives need to show that we have someplace to go and we have leverage and we don't need to just go along with an establishment candidate. And there is definitely going to be a libertarian on the ballot for the Senate race. His name is Thomas Lane, L-A-E-H-N, different from Zach Lane, the nominee for governor, L-A-H-N. I think that, frankly, it's possible that some Republicans may accidentally vote for Thomas Lane. But I went back and looked at all the Senate races since 2014. And whenever there were independent or libertarian candidates on the ballot, they combined to get around 3 to 4% of the vote. Thomas Lane, he hasn't raised a lot of money. He's got some creative social media videos. He's running on a message that I think could really appeal to disaffected conservatives against eminent domain abuse, against the CO2 pipeline, highlighting that Ashley Hinson has taken campaign donations from Bruce Rastetter, who's the main figure behind the pipeline. And so if I'm a disaffected Carlin voter, I do think that most of them will vote for the Republican nominee. But now they look at their ballot and they have a place to go. They can vote for the Libertarian. In 2022, when it was just Chuck Grassley against Mike Franken with no third party on the ballot, it was just like a minuscule number of write-ins, like less than 0.2% write-ins versus 3%, maybe 4%. I don't know what's realistic, but that gives Josh Turek a path to winning with less than 50% of the vote statewide. Yeah, I remember that Grassley Franken. Doug Jones and I both flew out here and campaigned around the state for Franken. It was a heartbreaker for me. I was really hopeful. But Turek, I think, really has a real shot. I mean, I know it's still going to be an uphill battle, but if he's actually already in a little bit of a lead in the public stuff. I have not seen any poll showing Hinson at or near 50%. She's been kind of mired in the mid 40s in all the polling I've seen. And Republicans may discount this poll that just came out because it was by a Democratic firm, but showed Turek a little ahead, 47-45. And it showed Republicans ahead on the generic ballot, like the mirror image, 47-45. But I haven't seen, I'd be happy to publish any internal polling they have that contradicts that. Right. And I haven't seen it. I saw one of my contacts just sent me, I always love when people send me the political mail that they get, the pictures of. So Americans for Prosperity Action already has a positive mailer out for Hinson in June, which is, they spend money on Iowa races, but I thought that was fairly early for talking about how she's above partisan politics and she gets results for Iowans. Iowans and all this stuff. And I thought, well, their polling can't be that great if they're out there trying to boost her positives in June.
Right. And like I said, I think it's just going to be very hard for any Republican to say I'm above partisan politics, not because of that person. They may well be, but because of the just environment writ large of the entire Republican Party going lockstep with everything that Trump wants to do. It's hard. Oh, yeah, sure. You'll be one, because you'll be really one of those that's really concerned about where the direction of your party's going. I mean, we'll see. But I don't think independent, like I said, all the polling I've seen, independents are leaning pretty hard away from Trump and MAGA and Republicans right now.
If they turn out. I mean, independents, I wanted to say about Ashley Hinson, she's very polished. She's a former TV news reporter and anchor. So she doesn't make a lot of mistakes. But one thing that I think she could be vulnerable on is she frequently goes on Fox or Newsmax or these other things. And she's tried to be joined to the hip with Donald Trump. So, I mean, you could just do a series of, you could do a whole 30-second ad of just clips of Ashley Hinson saying, Trump is one of the greatest presidents and he's going to usher in the golden age. That's literally a phrase she's used, the golden age. Oh. Well, we're not there right now. I mean, I know that the Republicans are hoping that gas prices are going to be coming down, but like you said, for farmers, I mean, they already, it's spring planting is done for them.
Yeah. And then I remember I had just seen the Economist poll, YouGov poll that showed Trump at the time, this is like a month ago, it showed Trump had his approval was negative 14 in Iowa.
That's low. I mean, wow, that would be surprising.
And what was fascinating, but what was fascinating about it, so I mean, I'm not saying that the minus 14 is accurate, but I'm just saying poll came out, minus 14. Next day, Hinson was out saying how honored she was to have Donald Trump's endorsement. And I actually posted on X, please no one tell her that Trump's approval is underwater in Iowa right now. Whether it's 4 points or 14, I think it's clearly underwater right now.
It's clearly underwater. And Josh Turk is very well spoken. He has a deep knowledge of the issues, especially healthcare, because he's a lifelong beneficiary of some of the important programs like Medicaid. So he could talk about those issues all day long, and why the vote for the big beautiful bill is harmed. It's probably I don't have a firm number, but I'm sure it's more than 10,000 Iowans who've lost their health insurance because of the Obamacare subsidies not being extended, and then the Medicaid cuts. We are already seeing rural clinics close, and hospitals no longer doing labor and delivery. So all of those are going to be very salient issues.
Is that what helps him in rural Iowa, or is it his story? What do you think?
I think he has a very appealing story. He's a 4-time Paralympian, and he's a very hardworking candidate, but he's very conversant in the rural issues as well. I mean, he was in the legislature, even though the Democrats are deeply in the minority, so they can't get anything passed. But he was part of a group of Iowa House Democrats who, they introduced legislation on things like right to repair for farmers and some other, I think they called it like the Farm Independence Act or something, this package of bills. But he's very knowledgeable about talking about rural issues. So I think that they're just not going to be ceding any ground.